Hello kids, it's teacher Nahla. Once there was a sheep who dreamed the impossible. Her name was Mouton, and she lived on a farm in southern France. Every day on her way to the field to graze, she stopped, mesmerized by the curious drawings tagged on the barn walls by the brothers who owned the farm. "Someday I'm going to fly," she whispered. With a rustle and a flop, Canard the duck tumbled down to the ground. "I can teach you to fly," he quacked, untangling his feet. Mouton's eyes glistened. Cocorico the rooster scratched nearby. "Flying is silliness," he clucked, "and anyway sheep are not made to fly." From that day on, Mouton was very busy. During the days, she studied the brothers and their flying machines. In the evenings, she studied Canard and his wings and feathers. But when the time came for Mouton's first flight, she just wasn't ready. Still that night, she dreamed about flying. The next morning, Mouton was startled awake by the sound of the brothers packing for a journey. She watched helplessly as they tugged their precious drawings away in their wagon, along with boxes and baskets, rolls of rope, heaps of linen, and mammoth sheets of paper. They even packed Cocorico. "Where are they taking Cocorico?" quacked Canard. "Where are they taking my drawings?" pleaded Mouton. When the wagon rattled down the road, Canard and Mouton followed close behind, carefully keeping out of sight. Just before sunset, Cocorico fell off the wagon. "Can you take me home now?" he asked, relieved to be rescued. But Mouton had other ideas. Mouton, Canard, and Cocorico followed the wagon past villages and through cities. After a very long time, they arrived at a palace. Mouton could see one of the brothers unpacking the flying machine. Nearby, a little boy shouted, "If people can fly, we can do anything." Mouton paused to get closer. "That thing will never get off the ground," said an innkeeper. "And surely the airway up in the sky isn't safe to breathe," added a doctor. Mouton brushed past them. At the edge of the crowd, she spotted an empty basket. With Canard and Cocorico, she slept inside to wait and watch unseen. Just as the animals settled in, they heard the people cheer. Cocorico stretched his neck and scrambled for a better look. "It's the king and the queen," he squealed, forgetting to hide. The people bowed down to the ground. Looking rather skeptical, the king inquired about the brothers' invention. As one of the brothers described how their machine would soar to the skies, the queen smiled with delight. "But what are the animals for?" she asked. Everyone looked confused. Then one of the brothers smiled. "They'll test the balloon for us," he said. "If the animals can fly, we'll know it's safe." "Flying is not safe," screeched Cocorico as he struggled to escape. But no one heeded his warning. From inside the basket, the animals heard fluttering and flopping, and then everything went still. Mouton waited and listened. Suddenly, the basket jumped. Mouton's heart leapt. But only a second later, the basket bumped back to the ground. Canard looked at Mouton. "I'm sorry, Mouton," he said, when he saw her face. But maybe Cocorico was right. Maybe sheep just aren't made to fly. Just then, the basket jumped again. This time it didn't pump back to the ground. It went up and up. The crowd gasped. Mouton squeezed her head out and peered down at the ground. She was flying. Canard was astounded. Without flapping their wings, he, Mouton, and Cocorico were moving across the sky like a cloud. Cocorico fought to get loose, but quickly changed his mind when he saw the world drop from under them. The animals drifted over fields and forests, gliding and hovering and floating, until at last the machine slowly began settling back to earth. And then thud, their journey was over. Cocorico crowed the happiest crow of his life. He had flown, but he was alive. Mouton, did you see? We were soaring. Mouton just gazed up at the sky and whispered, I was flying. Canard smoothed his feathers and looked hard at Cocorico. He thought Cocorico didn't like flying. Mouton, Canard, and the Cocorico were royally rewarded for their bravery. The queen was so impressed with their flight that she invited them all to live at the palace. There, Canard spent his days giving lessons to Cocorico, who found that he actually enjoyed flying and didn't even mind an occasional crash. Mouton became a favorite with the royal family, having fulfilled her greatest desire. She lived the rest of her life with her feet on the ground and her dreams in the clouds.